So point number 3, if we look at Numbers chapter 15, we're going to start at verse 32. This is under the title, I'm back in my King James Bible, under the title, The Stoning of a Sabbath Breaker. Verse 32, and while the children of Israel were in the wilderness, they found a man that gathered sticks upon the Sabbath day. Now let's pause for a second. You know, initially when you first hear this, especially if you are a baby Christian, it's easy to judge that and say, oh my gosh, this man was in trouble for gathering sticks. Yes, he was in trouble for gathering sticks. The reason why is because he did it on the Sabbath. The previous 6 days was when he gathers sticks. That's part of his work. It's saying sticks here because in the Old Testament, work was agricultural. So you also had to build fires for cooking, for sacrifices, to keep warm, because they do not have the modern amenities that we have now. So the example of sticks is classified in the category of work. Verse 33, and they that found him gathering sticks brought him unto Moses and Aaron and unto all the congregation. And the Lord, I skipped ahead. Verse 34. And they put him in ward because it was not declared what should be done to him. So what that means is they actually put him probably in a cell of some sort, like a jail, or at least somewhere kind of quarantined where he was guarded, where he could not escape where he was. He had men watching him until they could figure out what they were to do with him for gathering sticks on the Sabbath. Verse 35, and the Lord said unto Moses, the man shall be surely put to death. Remember back in the verses that I've read you before, it was a repetitive of put to death, put to death, put to death was a consequence. All the congregation shall stone him with stones without the camp. And all the congregation brought him without the camp and stoned him with the stones, and he died as the Lord commanded Moses. The Lord has spoken. The Lord is speaking of the death sentence right here for the man disobeying on the Sabbath. You can take this and apply this to everything of the Bible and everything of life for when we choose whether we obey or we disobey. With obedience comes the blessing. With disobedience comes the curses. You can read that in Deuteronomy 28 where God lists the blessings and the curses. When you do these blessings, when you do these things, the blessings you receive, how you will be blessed. When you don't do these things, it gives you the curses. It's just that black and white. It's the difference between right and wrong. It's what we were created here on earth to do, to serve the Lord and to follow his commands and be a witness. So number 3 is, it is serious. The Sabbath is serious. So if we go back to 1 Corinthians 10 and how it states that everything that happened in the Old Testament happened as an example to us today in the New Testament times and is written as instructions, then we cannot disregard what the Old Testament says about what we should do. So the stick gatherer was sentenced to death. So that was God right there showing us how there is a consequence for disobeying God. And you know, in today's modern times, it doesn't mean that you will be stoned to death, because that's not our forms of punishment these days. But It means that in some way, shape, or form, spiritually, physically, financially, you are slowly giving yourself a death sentence that is building up to death. So, number 4, if we look at Mark 2, verses 23 through 28, under this, we're in the New Testament, and the title of this section is The Purpose of the Sabbath. So starting with verse 23, it says, "And it came to pass that he went through the cornfields on the Sabbath day, and his disciples began, as they went, to pluck the ears of corn. And the Pharisees said unto him, Behold, why do they on the Sabbath day that which is not lawful? And he said unto them," now Jesus is talking, "Have ye never read what David did when he had need and was an hungered, he and they that were with him? How he went into the house of God in the days of Abiathar the high priest, and did eat the showbread, which is not lawful to eat but for the priests, and gave also to them which were with him. And he said unto them also, The Sabbath was made for man, and not man for the Sabbath. Therefore, the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath." So what this is saying here in Mark is that point number 4, the Sabbath is a blessing. So if you want to receive a blessing from God, honor the Sabbath. The Sabbath was made to serve me, to serve you, to serve all of mankind, God's children, if they will do what they need to do on the Sabbath. It was not made to serve God, although the obedience out of it does honor and serve God, and it provides what God has said the Sabbath will provide for you. So, like tithing also, it is far better to give your 10% to God and have the 90% blessed than have 100% of your tithes cursed. If you keep 100% of your tithes and don't pay them, your disobedience to God curses your money, curses your finances, because you are not trusting God with your money. You're not trusting what God has said he will do and provide for you by you paying 10%. I'd much rather pay 10% and get to keep 90 for myself than to have so many troubles with 100. This is a very small thing that God is asking, to receive such an abundance back from God, because he is an abundant giver. He gives exceedingly abundantly all that we can ask, think, or imagine. If you can believe God that when you accept Jesus that you are saved, we need to believe God that when he says the Sabbath day is holy and that it's a death sentence if we don't keep it holy, we need to take him for his word on that. The whole Bible is true. The Sabbath is a gift from God. And many times we want to know when God is going to do something for us. We many times think we've got so many unanswered prayers, or maybe it's just one prayer for somebody, the most important prayer that they have, and they don't understand why their prayer is not answered. It could possibly be that you're in disobedience to God. What is it that you don't know about God's word that you need to find out, where you need to be obedient to receive the promise, the provision? His blessings and his promises are in the provision once we have been obedient to his word. So I encourage you to get with God and ask him in prayer to show you what it is that you need to work on, where you are in sin and disobedience, to receive an answer to that prayer, for God to be able to move in your life and to honor you, and to to purify you and to clean you up so that you become in more of a right relationship with God. God is waiting on us to take action, just like I said with that, and going to God in prayer and asking Him where you need to look at some things in your life and make adjustments. He's waiting on us to make a move many times to provide the plan that He has provided for us, to do what He wants to do. He wants us to take action. We cannot just sit on our bottoms and expect God to be a genie in a bottle. Be co-partners with God and receive and work together with God the blessings and the blessed life and all the promises that God has. They want to sit around and do nothing and then want to question, why is God not answering my prayers? Well, He's waiting on you to take action. So there are different ways too to take a Sabbath. So the difference between a vacation and a Sabbath would be that on a vacation, you usually tend to rest some and do some fun things, but you're also taking in the emails and the phone calls and doing the things of work. You may be going shopping, picking up supplies while you're on a vacation, something that you ran into, and so you're still doing things for work. On a Sabbath, you don't do any of that. You don't do anything related to work. So, you may need to do something like take a Sabbath long break, depending on what you do in life, or a job or your calling. And sometimes you can take it seems like a vacation, but it's taking a Sabbath and maybe an extended Sabbath for a week or a weekend or whatever, to really refresh and reset yourself and catch your breath to continue on after you've taken your Sabbath back into the game of things in life and your work and your calling. Areas of my life, I don't do things that are related to our business. And there's actually some things that, since I've learned and got into this study better about the Sabbath, that I realized areas where I was going wrong and I thought that I was okay, but I'm not. And I'm going to make those adjustments. So since I'm a Christian author, that means that I'm not studying things for my next book. I'm not studying things or making the posts for Instagram. I'm not writing a book. I'm not working on my book. I'm not doing anything. So since that is my calling as well and part of my purpose in life, and I've got vocation in there, everything that I do 6 days a week, I lay it down on Sunday and I rest. So even studying the Word, like I said, to put something in my book or to put on social media, I don't do. Studying God's Word is different, because you're going to go to church and you need to read God's Word, and He is to be put first, which is another video that I will do about putting God first. But I don't do nothing that I would do for my work or my calling the previous 6 days. So the reason we work 7 days a week is because we don't trust God. So if you can't give yourself a Sabbath, if you mentally in your mind cannot allow yourself a Sabbath, you're saying the business won't last, we won't be able to eat, I've got to make this money, the customers are asking me today, and if I don't do it today it might rain, or I've got to get it done, God sent me the work today, so that means I have to do it today. No. If you cannot give yourself a Sabbath, you are not trusting God. People who work 7 days a week, even if they're working on the Sabbath, mentally are killing themselves. It's a death sentence. So you're working 7 days a week because you don't trust God and because you feel like if you don't do it, it won't get done. So there's a lack of trust in God right there. The truth is that you can trust God, because remember, it's like I've said, it's out of the obedience that God brings the provision, which is the blessings, and His honoring you and supplying you and taking care of you, sustaining you and holding you out of your obedience of doing what He says. So you have to be principled. You have to schedule it. You have to make sure that that happens. And in conclusion too, if you don't agree with anything that I've said, if you don't like any of it, it's your choice. Like I said, God's not forcing you. I'm not forcing you. I'm bringing you the truth, and it is your choice as to what you want to do with it and the lifestyle that you want to have. And by the time you are at the end of your journey here on earth, what you will think and what you will feel, and you will know about the journey that you had here on earth.